whole bunch of people here with me today. Man, you guys look big in comparison to me. Holy, maybe I should put my chair back up. Oh, well. Hey, now who's disappearing? Are you disappearing? Yeah, you are. You're becoming a talking head.
Apparently black is not the color to wear here.
Well, no, blue's not the color to wear here.
We're more of a bright orange station.
Maybe I'm disappearing too. Well, anyhow, as you can see, we have a whole bunch of people here today. And as you guys know by now, nothing ever goes as I plan because it would be different. But since we do it on a wing and a prayer, I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves. That way I don't screw it up. And they know who they are. Allison, you want to go first?
Sure. How much you want to know?
Wait a minute. It's before 11, so we have to be clean.
Okay.
That was Allison. I like that.
Go ahead. Say hi to everybody.
Hello, I'm Allison Hill. I've been in Asheville just a little over a year. I'm originally from Wales in the UK, and I moved here from Denver, Colorado.
Ooh, cool. And I invited her to come over here today because she has a little bit of paranormal experience. We were supposed to have Appalachian ghost tours, and he got the flu, and I know how that is. It's like, forget it, you're not going anywhere. So Allison was over at the tea party, and that's where we met Jace. You want to say hey, Jace,
Hi.
and let everybody know who you are, too?
My name is Jace Hoppus. I'm a magician and a psychological entertainer, and I do tarot readings and seances and magic shows and mind reading shows and a little bit of everything.
And if you saw him earlier, he was, like I said, at the tea party, and I'm sure he's going to be coming back again because he's got a whole lot of really good stuff. And he's one of the real ones. So there's one of my photos, and I'm sure that Phil can tell you a little bit more about those kind of photos.
Well,
Phil?
That photo is orbs in motion. Mm-hmm. The orbs are caught with the camera as they are moving. And my name's Philip Driver. I'm a paranormal investigator. Been doing it for 25 years now.
And I asked Phil to be on. Phil was supposed to be our regular guest. We were talking about paranormal stuff today. And then we also have...
Hi, I am the Reverend John Lemuria. I have a show on your TV. I have a great interest in all manner of paranormal and pataphysical things. In fact, briefly, at one time in college, my major was paranormal studies.
Oh, wow, cool.
More of a dare than anything else, quite a bit. But I do have a great interest in the subject and in all sorts of esoterica, and I have the psychic abilities of a small rock. So that's about it for me.
And you sell yourself too short. I'm sitting here and I'm looking for the information that I had from last week. There is the Bread of Life out in Brevard, and that is a place that people can go and get food on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it's really a cool place. And they're having a benefit. It's a bowl of soup. It's not until April 5th, so next week I'm just going to have to get you a whole lot more information and bring it. But they're going to be making a handmade bowl, and for $15 you get the bowl and the soup, or if you just want to spend $5 and it goes to the Bread of Life. And that's something that's really important in today's society, and that's taking care of each other. You know, it's a big part. And I know that you have some things that you wanted to talk about.
Yes, a documentary I produced about therapeutic writing and the innumerable benefits that it brings to people with certain physical and emotional mental differences. It's a 30-minute documentary. It's being screened tomorrow morning at the Fine Arts Theatre at 11 a.m. So if you've got nothing better to do.
Okay, and you better tell them where the Fine Arts Studio is so that they know.
It's downtown Asheville on Broadway?
Broadway,
yes. Right.
And that is tomorrow?
At 11 a.m.
Tomorrow is Saturday and that is March 1st.
And March 1st actually is the patron saints of Wales Day, which is St. David's Day.
Oh,
so, yeah,
cool.
March 1st. So I'll be wearing a daffodil tomorrow.
A daffodil?
Yes.
And Monday is my birthday.
Your
I'm
birthday.
I'm going to be
Happy birthday.
50. Do I act like it?
I thought you said 15.
No, I only act like 15. So
That's good.
now I know that you have to leave early. Would
Yes.
you like to tell people more about you and how to? Well, I guess as it rolls, you'll see the credits and this is being filmed live at URTV in Asheville. And as you can tell, this is not a professional show. We don't get paid to do this. What can I say? I'm still looking for sponsors. International sponsors are definitely welcome. Okay, you ready?
Sure.
Tell them.
I've got a degree in comparative religion and philosophy. I've studied mostly here in America, but I've done some study in India and got to work with some fakirs in India, and that was a lot of fun. Learned a lot of fun things there. One of my mentors is the current chair of the Occult Investigation Committee of the Society of American Magicians. And so he's one of the people that I'm sure you've probably run into this to some extent as well as an investigator. When people have hauntings and things like that going on in their house, he's one of the people that they go to confirm or deny if there's actually something going on. He looks at it from the perspective of illusion and how else could this be going on, which is a little bit different than how I look at it. I try to look at it from that perspective to a little bit, but I also am more familiar with the spiritual side as well.
No, but when you're doing it, do you feel?
Yes.
That's how you feel?
Yeah,
So
I feel
you
things, but I
use-
also look for logical explanations. I try to play both sides of it. About half of the hauntings that I've investigated have been just normal things that can be explained in other manners, and about half of them have been what I consider to be legitimate. And I do seances. I do a wide variety of seances. Most of the seances that I do are the real thing, but I also do spook shows as well, because it's just fun to scare people.
Well, I hope that you're gonna come sometime and we'll do one. I mean,
Okay.
that sounds like a
Yeah,
whole lot of.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, because I mean he has to leave, and it was like last moment to ask you to be on the show today, because it's like Phil wasn't here yet, and I'm like, oh, okay, let me see, an hour. You guys really want to listen to me for an hour? So I know that you have to leave, but I'd
Yeah.
love to have you back again and talk and to really
Definitely.
to do a seance, because a lot of people, they have impressions of. What would you like to tell people what a seance is and
Well,
the meaning of?
The seances that I do are very different than the seances that most people do, because a lot of times when a medium comes in to do a seance, the entire focus is on the medium. And in some ways that's great, because the medium is obviously the one who's had the most experience with all of this. But when I go in and do a seance, yes, I'm there as a medium, but I'm more there as a facilitator, because I want everybody to have the contact, not just me. And so when I go in, I lead you in through a meditation and visualization so that you can contact this stuff as well, because everybody has the ability to do it. And so most of the times when I go into places and do seances, half the time I'll only get a few ideas here and there, but everyone around me, is contacting their relatives, and there was one lady who hadn't seen her grandfather since she was like 4 years old, and he died shortly thereafter, and I was doing the seance with her, and she was about 22 at the time, and she was able to have a wonderful conversation with her grandfather all through this meditation.
when you did this, was it one-on-one, or you're talking
This was
a group of
one.
people?
I do one-on-one seances as well. This was a group seance where we had about 6 people there, and it was almost completely done in silence, and every single person there made contact with someone, and it was a wonderful experience.
That sounds really cool. Could we do something like that here?
Of course.
That's something that we could?
Of course.
Oh, cool. That sounds like a whole lot of fun. You'll have to tell us what all that we either need to bring or.
It's very simple. I mean, most of the stuff I can bring with me. For that, the two things that I lead in with involve a bowl of water and a small rock, and that's it. Everything else is all internal. And the way we could do it easily for television is just simply have people state what they're experiencing. Because I think it'll be very interesting from an outsider's perspective, from the audience's perspective, to see that these regular people who don't claim any kind of psychic ability whatsoever are still being able to receive this and still being able to experience what's going on.
And there's a lot of skeptics that are out there. How do you explain the paranormal through your eyes, your perspective of it?
When I'm talking specifically to skeptics, my philosophy is, does it really matter if it's real or not? Because if it's not real and the person is still getting something out of it, then there's a benefit. If it is real and the person's getting something out of it, then the person's still getting a benefit. It benefits the person either way. And so from a skeptical perspective, it really doesn't matter. Personally, I believe it's real. And I think most of us here are in agreement there.
Well, that's because we've
here,
had
yeah.
experience.
It does actually conjure up questions of what does real mean in that case.
Exactly.
I mean, does it real mean that real, or does real mean significant, or does real mean an actual connection by someone other than yourself, or does real mean a connection of some deep portion of yourself? All
It's
sorts
like
of things.
asking somebody to quantify an experience, isn't it? You
Yeah.
can't really sort of make an experience solid. Can you?
Well, that's like, the photo that's on there now. Taking paranormal photos, it's like, okay, the question of, are they real? Are they the bugs? Is it really? But that was taken as I bumped into it. And it was a physical contact, that I bumped into, and there's nothing there. So to me, that was my confirmation. No, I'm not crazy. These things really do exist. But even getting that physical proof, people still don't want to believe that, oh, you're just lying. It's like, no, I'm not lying. This is, you take my photograph and I don't care what you do to it, but, no, that was taken. That was as
Why
as
do you
taken.
think people, even confronted with absolute proof, why do you think some people still don't believe or don't want to believe?
Because they would have to admit that there's another life source and that we are not the most intelligent life source. That is how I feel.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're taught from a very early age that none of this stuff exists. I mean, the most powerful magical formula that exists is something we teach 2-year-olds, and it's the word no. And if you say no, this doesn't exist, then it doesn't. No matter how much proof you're going to have for it, it's still not going to exist. To you.
Yeah, that's.
Of course, if we're being really honest and critical of our environment, we should be saying, I'm not sure that exists, to a whole bunch of what we normally consider to exist. For instance, presidents. I mean, I am all for skepticism.
Oh, yeah.
I think skepticism should be rigorously applied to every facet of our lives, not just the ones that we normally apply it to, such as seances and ghosts like that. It should be applied to many, many things that we normally take for granted, because, like you said, it's a magical incantation. No structures your reality.
Yes.
And the powers that be, and we're not going to go into reptile people or star gods or anything like powers that be, is a catch-all term for white men with lots of money. Okay, that's all I mean by powers that be, are very adept at filtering our reality for us into ways that would not necessarily benefit us.
And the problem that I see a lot of times is that they take this, or not just them in particular, but people in general, take this idea of skepticism and bring it forth into cynicism. And skepticism is a wonderful concept. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Everybody should look at everything with a skeptical eye. But skepticism leaves the opportunity for proving that it exists. Whereas
having
cynicism,
that openness, and objectivity.
Exactly, and cynicism doesn't allow for that. Cynicism is going into that with a predetermined notion that this is not real, and no matter what happens, that's what's going to be proven.
Robert Anton Wilson came up with a very good description, I think, for people like the Center for the Investigations of the Paranormal. What is that? PSYCOP. They're adherents of dogmatic materialism. They're not skeptics.
Right.
They have their own belief system. It's a very rigidly held belief system, and they will do their darndest to defend it,
Mhm.
and that is what they do.
Well, like on an investigation, you have to be skeptical.
Yeah.
Because you can't go in and say, okay, you hear a knock, okay, that's a ghost. No.
No.
You got to go find the source. See if
Yeah.
you can find the source of the knock. Like I've investigated homes and found out it was just pipes.
Hmm.
Right.
The pipes would rattle, but people thought they had a ghost. So it gives them peace of mind knowing that there wasn't a ghost there, you know. But like I say, yeah, you do have to be skeptical. You have to be 100% skeptical when you walk in. Even though you believe it or not, you know they exist, but still you got to be skeptical on each investigation.
Yeah.
And have a basic knowledge of plumbing.
Yeah. One of my favorite investigation stories was one that my mentor, Andy Dallas, was on. And he went into this house, and the cabinets would randomly open up, and sometimes dishes would fall out of the cabinets, and the people were absolutely convinced they had a poltergeist. And it turned out that every time a truck drove past on the highway, the dishes would scoot forward about 1 millimeter. And so over the course of time, the more trucks that would drive past, it'd scoot them forward a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, and eventually the dishes would push the cabinet doors open. And if you didn't notice that the doors were open, they'd keep going and then eventually crash out. But it was only the trucks.
And sometimes you got things flying around, and you say, "Hey, you
Yeah.
got a poltergeist."
Yeah, then you've got a poltergeist.
Only so much can be blamed on trucks.
That's
really.
right. That's right.
You know what I find is interesting is the phenomenon of coincidence and
Yes.
what is it?
Synchronicity.
Synchronicity, yes.
Synchronicity.
Which is a very interesting phenomenon, because what do we mean by that? All synchronicity is that we noticed some connection.
Right.
Those kind of connections may or may not be happening all the time.
Right.
All synchronicity means is, hey, wait a second, I notice that those two things are meaningful compared to each other where normally they would not be.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is more of a matter of perception than any
But
gross physical phenomenon.
it's something that keeps coming up repeatedly. Say, for instance, you're driving down the road and there's a sign about roses, and just when that sign says the word roses, you pass a sign and there's a rose there, and you pass a garden, there's roses in the garden, that kind of thing. I mean, there's some kind of, I don't know, something going on there because it's very obvious.
But that's just, but what is going on there? Is it the universe trying to tell you a message, or is your brain picking up on all the rose signals you're getting that day?
That is the question.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it goes back to the old psychological ideas. If I'm completely and totally focused on the number 23,
Mm-hmm.
then everywhere I look, I'm going to find the number 23.
And bad movies will be the result.
Exactly.
It started out well.
Well,
It started out really well.
but anything that you think of, if you're focused entirely on that one thing, you're going to see it everywhere.
Mhm.
And so I think the fun thing with synchronicities is when it's not something that you're focused on.
Mm.
I mean, if you're driving down the road, for using your example for a second, and you pass a sign that says roses, and one of your friends texts you something, and it just happens to deal with roses. I mean,
Yeah.
those kinds of synchronicities, I think, are
Yeah.
the really
Yeah, I
amazing
call that
ones.
divine in action.
Yeah.
But what is the message there? What if you can't really pick up the message?
Well, a lot of us chalk it up to that's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
But it's when you look at it, it's like, okay, I'm at the right place at the right time. I'm following that divine. I'm living in that divine. Yeah, you guys did good. I disappeared, and it's like, hey, man, you don't need me. I had to go in so we can see who everybody is. This is Ghost Hunters. Ghost
For
Hunters.
the record, it's frozen on Ghost Hunters Inc. It's not actually cycling through anything.
Oh, dear.
It's on a different setting than what it was on last week, and I'm not familiar enough with the system to know what it is.
Oh, okay. Well,
Ghost Hunters Inc., you're in luck.
You win the lottery.
well, in that case, I guess that we should tell everybody how that people can find you. Do you want people to find you? Or-
We want people to find me. Which people?
Okay, we'll come back to her. How do people find you?
The easiest way to get a hold of me is through email, and
Grab a pen.
it's the email address is ixthkey. It's the Roman numeral for 9, so it's 9th key @gmail.com. You can also find me through my website, which is www.ixthkey.com.
IXTEH. IXTEH.
IXTH.
I got it.
Oh,
There
you
go.
wrote it down.
IXTHKEY. It's the ninth key. It's a reference to the Hermit card of the tarot.
Oh,
The light that
okay.
shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not.
The Led
Cool.
Zeppelin album. It was Led Zeppelin, wasn't it?
Led Zeppelin did use the Hermit image
Okay.
a lot.
Yes. Okay.
That's not why I chose
I
it,
know.
but but yes, Led Zeppelin did use that image a lot.
Okay, and Phil? I mean, we already know that you're Ghost Hunters Inc., but...
Well, we also do spirit rescues and exorcisms.
Oh,
Wonderful.
cool.
And
Yes, contact me.
Spirit rescues?
I got a card you can have before you leave.
Okay.
And we do not charge for what we do. We do it for free because people don't know what to do, and I don't think they should have to pay $2,000 or $3,000 out of their pockets for this one. I enjoy just doing it. So if I enjoy it, I shouldn't have to charge for it. And we're very professional, and we do like I said, we do everything skeptic. We come in as skeptics. We investigate. We use our equipment, cameras, EVPs, which is electronic voice phenomena, and all of our meters to take temperature readings, thermals. We go to find out if you do have a haunting, and if not, we will tell you. There's no shame in asking for help.
And how do they contact you?
Well, you can contact me at 252-7298.
That's area code 828.
828. Or you can contact me by cell, which is 828-301-1181. And I will, if I'm not there, I will get back to you. Just leave a name, your number, and a message.
Cool. John?
Well, if you wanted to see some of the archive shows for the Pleasure Saucer, which comes on every Wednesday morning at 2 a.m., you can go to my website, which is pleasuresaucer.blogspot.com. That's pleasure saucer, all one word, .blogspot, all one word, .com. Or you may write me at pleasuresaucer@gmail.com if you'd like to, say, be a guest on the show, because we're always looking for interesting people to come on the Pleasure Saucer.
Cool. And that is a tape show that you don't
It
do
is
a
a tape
live
show.
your live
Right.
show, because sometimes that's why it's on at 2:00 in the morning.
Exactly.
Because then he can say those big F words.
You say those big F words, and you're not quite as bound by the restrictions of daytime television, which is a bit liberating sometimes. But it's not a tape show because, well, the station isn't open at 2 a.m., which is a good thing because Jonathan works very, very hard, and he shouldn't have to be here at 2 a.m.
Okay, I see it's going, so there you guys go. Whoever's still looking for the pen and you can't remember it, it's going to be going on top, and that's the Ghost Hunters. We have everybody up there except for Allison, so
You're hidden.
sorry, you're just not going to be able to contact her unless you go and to the, what is that tomorrow?
Well, actually, I do have a website.
Oh, there we go. You want them to contact you? Okay, go
To the
ahead.
website. Then.
She's married. Sorry, guys.
But I'm a journalist, producer, and writer, and I do public relations as well right now
Cool.
for the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians.
Oh, cool.
And my website is www.serenmedia. All right. No, you can't
I
see
wouldn't try that.
SEREN Media Productions.com. Seren is Welsh for star.
Oh, cool.
And I can't pronounce my R's very well because they come out like R. Like a pirate. So
Yeah.
SerenMediaProductions.com.
And I'd just like to clear up something. That was therapeutic riding.
Riding, yes, not
as
writing.
on a horse, not.
Riding.
Well, I got confused with that myself a couple of
You saw-
times
right.
before I saw the footage.
Oh, you saw the footage?
Well, I saw some of the footage when you were doing it at the beginning.
You didn't see the horse.
I saw
That's
the footage.
after
Sorry.
Before I saw the footage, yes.
Oh,
I know.
There's mine.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there we
All
go. So now you guys
Just
can grab a
kidding.
pen and you can
How long have you
contact
been working
us.
on
And
that? It's been quite a while.
The Mountain Hopes one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Disappear.
already broadcast.
I mean,
well,
how
you
long was
might
the
have
production
been
time for that?
first,
Because you were editing that for
That's
quite a
what you have
while.
to
For
do
that.
to-
I was, yes. I had some audio issues.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, because audio is not my forte.
That was just weird,
So I had
wasn't
to learn everything
Right.
about
You
audio.
can disappear out of here.
That's the trouble when you're doing post-production. You've already shot everything you can shoot, so you
Well,
have
I
to
used to
work
have
with
a crew doing everything. You know, I used to have a budget.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I hate to interrupt you guys, but
He's disappearing.
he's disappearing.
We can see him. Oh, there you go.
It's like a magic
It was
trick.
so great to see you, Jason. I
Yes,
look
you
forward to
too.
you coming back
Oh
on
yes,
again.
I shall.
Yeah. We definitely have to do a seance and freak some people out.
That was wonderful.
I've never been in one. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
So does that mean that you want to come and join in?
Sure.
Wonderful.
Cool. We'll keep you guys posted on when he's going to be back again. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Have a
Nice
good
to
day.
meet you.
Yes,
Bye.
you too.
You.
Oh, I like the magic trips around here.
Just creepy.
Come
we
on,
close it up?
Shall we close ranks?
come on in, yeah. Well, he's gonna come back again. Philip's gonna come back again. I mean,
Oh,
if you
he
want to
is?
come in, yeah.
Oh,
Philip's
this
coming
is
back.
high chair. I'm in
I
high
know.
chair.
Well, that's why I said
Oops.
I put my thing down.
Should I put mine down?
Yeah, if you want to, you can put it down. I mean, if you like being up, it's like.
Oh, that's
you know.
better.
Whoa. Yeah. Now you were talking earlier because you have a paranormal experience. You've been on
You know,
expeditions also.
yes. I mean, the most significant really was in Denver, Colorado. I was working for PBS as a producer and host, and
Uh-huh.
and I used to do some things on the side. And one of the things I did on the side was I helped this production company out by hosting and helping out with a program called Ghost. What was it called? It was basically some ghost hauntings
Uh-huh.
and paranormal stuff. And we stayed the night in a haunted house in Denver. It was a mansion. It was a huge place.
cool.
And yeah, it was there was a lot of history. Is he coming back in?
I see his feet. I love it. I love it.
Magic.
I know the magic of TV. Don't mind us. Go ahead. Continue on.
Right. Where was I? Oh yeah. There was a lot of history. There was a lot of energy in this huge mansion. It was built by this millionaire who had, I guess, who kept adding on to it, and a lot of, I guess, not so positive things happened in the place. And so we stayed the night with the paranormal team of paranormal. I can't even say that. Paranormal investigators.
You got it.
And the house's owner, and I had already interviewed her, and so we stayed the night, and a lot of interesting things happened. Like I was telling you earlier, I came across a cold spot in the basement, and I was a skeptic that night, and I went down to the basement on my own because I said, "Oh, I'm fine about this. Let's just see what
Now,
happens."
you were a skeptic before you went to this haunting.
No, at that particular house I
Uh-huh.
was, because I wasn't feeling anything from the house.
Okay.
I'm not usually a skeptic. I'm usually very taken in by all this stuff.
Gullible,
Just tell me
is
there's a
that
ghost
the word?
I have some real estate I'd like to talk to you about after the show. Maybe just.
What's that?
I have some real estate I'd like to talk to you about after the show. Just when.
He has some real estate.
Oh, right. Oh, no.
Now,
I'm not
I
making
mean,
investments.
if you were a blonde, you'd have an excuse. Come on now.
But anyways, no. But this night I was a skeptic, and I said I'm going down that damn basement by myself, and so I did. I had a flashlight, and I was going, oh, there's nothing here. This is just a house. And then I kind of got really cold at one point, and this smell just appeared. I don't know. The smells appear. This smell just came up, and it was that sort of dead animal kind of smell.
Like rotten
And
flesh.
yeah, it was pretty nasty, and it just came from nowhere and just went back to nowhere, whatever it was, and so it was really interesting. We also had a camera downstairs, and there was this like coat of, one of those standing coat of arms. I don't know, the whole armor thing, and it had like a little spear and everything. It was like one of those houses, and
Yeah.
very strange place.
Ooh.
And so we had a camera set up there, and we had monitors up in one of the haunted bedrooms, which had another cold spot. And we were sitting there, and we saw orbs coming to the screen. They were just flying at the screen like this, and everybody saw them. So it wasn't just one person's eyesight or something.
And
you know what I mean?
they say that a lot of times it's the dust flying in the air, and it's it's like what? There was no one in the
A
room.
dust particle this big. So we did see that, and then I was telling you earlier, I went down to sit at the bottom of the stairs with the guy with the armor and the spear, and that's where a lot of things had been happening at that particular spot, so that was a good spot to be. And then some other people came and joined me, and I just went and looked down to the basement. They had kind of a banister and stairs going down, and the guy said, "Oh my God!" And he said, "What?" And I turned around and I said, "What?" And he said, "Oh, something just passed by your legs." It was like both people saw it, and it was some kind of a shadow or something, and I kind of felt cold and anyway, and this guy saw something behind me. I don't know if he was making it up. I have no way to know.
Right.
Because it was his perception, like we were talking about earlier. But nevertheless, I screamed. And this was all being filmed, of course.
I found that a lot of, do come as dark shadows. I will see, that's how the one, my contact with it, when I was at the cemetery looking, it was a dark shadow. So I knew that there was some type of activity there.
Did you know I'd never seen you that night? I asked later.
It
never
wasn't that
seen
night.
you.
That was another, I was talking, the photo that was down in Florida. But you're
I'm
talking about, really?
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
didn't
see
even
you
know
either.
it.
I didn't know you were there.
I felt bad because I didn't even say hey to her. I didn't know she was here.
Yeah, that was one of the first shows or first two shows, something like that I had done back in October, and they were having a ghost hunt, and we went out. Which it's like you're going to be going out on a ghost hunt
Right.
after this.
Yeah.
If you guys want to go out on a ghost hunt, you have about a half an hour to get your butts down here. If you want to go along with Phil, or Phil, where are they going to be? Where are you going to be?
Well, it's a picnic area, and I know you probably heard of it from the Asheville Paranormal Society. I'm also with them, and you can find them at AshevilleParanormalSociety.com.
And they have a Yahoo group, so Asheville Paranormal Society. And if you're behind me, you'll see the bumper sticker on my car. Ghost hunters do it better in the dark.
Yeah, I got that on mine too.
Yeah.
Is it true?
Yeah.
I'm being a skeptic.
I always thought that would be ghost hunters use special instruments myself. Never mind. Anyway.
Well, that's on the pleasure saucer.
Depends on how good you are. But yeah, if anyone would like to go, get in contact with me. I'll be glad to take you on the tour. If you're under 18, please have a parent or guardian with you. I will warn you, this picnic area is also known as the body dump. And it is very haunted. I've been there many times.
Where's that at?
It's, trying to think of it. Most people right here know what I'm talking about when I say Boone's Corner. There's a highway, I can't remember the highway number, but you go like you're going towards Hominy. You keep going, you'll go across a couple little bridges after you go about about 10 miles out. And you'll see a little picnic area off to the side after you cross the second bridge. And you have to look for it, because if you don't, you will miss it. and at night, I mean, it's night there. I mean, it's black, dark. It's you're lucky to see with a flashlight.
Oh, cool. That sounds like a good one. So right there's his number. Grab it. Oh, okay, when it comes around again, it's in white. Okay? Grab his cell number if you want to give him a call after the show.
No,
then
my cell phone's out right now. So.
Oh, well, forget that. You have
It'll
half
be
an
up
hour.
in
Get
1
your
week.
butt down. Get your butts down here if you want to go. If not, sorry about your luck. You can hear about it the next time.
Because I'm planning on getting plenty of pictures tonight.
Yep, there you go. So what have you been up to?
What have I been up to?
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Well, as you know, I have been working on the secession of the Blue Ridge Mountain regions of western North Carolina. Because quite frankly, I don't think the Lakota Sioux should have all the fun. And I do think that this country, I'm not going to say it's beyond reform, because I'm not even sure that it has been within reform for the last 200 years, but the only solution that I can see that has any hope of success is a mass secession of the various groups that no longer want to be a part of it. And there are many groups that no longer be part of it. There are over 25 active secessionist groups in America. All,
America.
yes.
Saying that we do not like how things have been run, and we think that there should be a better way of doing it.
Like the American Civil War.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, when you bring in the word secession, it always goes back
to the Civil War.
Right. But there are secession groups in New England.
Right.
In fact, if there was a very big secessionist group before the Civil War in New England, and the New England states came very close themselves to seceding from the Union over the question of slavery. They didn't want to be associated with a country that had slavery in it. So that almost happened.
Well, we're going back to the Revolutionary War.
Well, no, this is past Revolutionary War. So between
1860.
This is between the Revolutionary War and between the Civil War. There was a very big movement in New England to secede from the United States of America because they did not want to be associated with a slave-owning country, which is quite understandable.
Okay.
And they almost seceded there. And they didn't, which is one of the reasons why we had the late unpleasantness. But there's a very strong secession movement in Vermont. One of the strongest is in Vermont right now. There's strong ones in Washington State and Oregon, California, much of the Southwest. Texas has got 4 competing secessionist groups. They don't like each other very much. Of course, the South has tons of them. Some of them are what you might call neo-Confederates, who have a rather unfortunate philosophy, but they're not as bad as Bush, really. I mean, which is a sad thing. We have a president who's worse than some neo-Confederates. Good going, guys.
Well, there again, when we're talking about Bush, I don't know how many of you saw his talk on TV, but I was like really disgusted in it and listening to him, and he's talking about, we have to have this, control over your cell phones, we want to listen to what you're saying.
Exactly.
And then another woman had brought up the fact of the gas,
right.
The price of the gas. And then in his next breath, and he's saying at that point, oh, well, he hasn't taken notice to what the price of gas is, okay? Now, there's another gentleman after that who asked him another question, and he's like, oh, yeah, the things that are high on his priority, and one of them is about the gas prices, and it's like, wait a minute, you just got done telling a woman how many minutes before that, oh, you didn't know, and then you're telling another man, oh, yeah, I'm right on it. And it's like, wait a minute, the lies, the spies, the who is deceiving who here?
Well, kind of
The
obvious.
gentleman in the control room would like to point out real quick that this proves once again that President Bush is either stupid or a liar. A lot of people say both, but clearly it has to be one or the other.
At least one of them, yes.
Well, it's like how many of us are actually, wait a minute. I mean, you don't want to believe this paranormal, but you're going to believe what Bush says?
These gas prices, I mean, it goes back to Katrina.
Yeah.
Okay, they had a line breakdown. I understood. Okay. Then another line breaks down somewhere else. Okay. Okay, the lines are fixed. Why is the gas price still going up?
Well, the thing is, I mean, they're talking about, okay, well, now it's like, okay, to plant the corn or the wheat for food. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I was told 30 years ago that we could produce gas out of corn. Why is it taking 30 years before, oh, well, now we're going to make gas out of corn?
That's not necessarily a good thing, though, because it's going to put the price of food up.
Well, no, it won't. No, it won't.
Well, no, but there's only so much you can produce, and
Yes.
and there's other forms of energy that we could be
But,
concentrating
but
on.
okay, 30 years ago, how many farmers were out there? How many farmers were losing their farms because, they couldn't produce this food? Farmers lost their farms because of, we don't need you anymore.
But also because of the big conglomerates, huge farms, the factory farms.
Yeah.
In those factory,
Yeah.
some of those factory farms, in fact, a lot of the farming today exists solely because of massive subsidies from the United States federal government. The reason that
And that's a dichotomy in a free market economy, isn't it?
No, I think the word you're looking for is obscenity in a free
Obscenity,
market.
okay.
No, it would not drive the price of food up, because if we lived in a sane society, which we don't, I'll stipulate that, but if we did, if you had ethanol as a basis for fuel, you wouldn't need those subsidies. We would knock out the subsidies, so we would actually exist in a free market economy. The price of food would stay the same, if not go down. if you had ethanol. Now, as I understand, the main problem with ethanol is in developing countries because people are knocking down all the forests to produce ethanol. And the reason they're doing that is because they're being led that way by the World Trade Organization and various other. I have no idea how you produce a free market with more bureaucracy. No one's quite explained that to me yet. But we have all these levels of bureaucracy throughout the world that are supposed to set up free trade. Mm-hmm. And like all government bureaucracies, they're doing an incredibly bad job of it, which leads to massive deforestation and environmental damage because the WTO is meddling in the affairs of other countries. Anyway, back to, I am a radical decentralist. Mm-hmm. We live in an age and a technology where we do not need large, monolithic, centralized structures anymore. They simply are not effective, mm-hmm. they're not efficient, and they're not needed. Mm-hmm. We live in a society and in an age of technology where decentralized interlocking networks mm-hmm. are the way to go. We mm-hmm. prove that in business, we prove that in social networks. It is time to adopt that strategy politically. Mm-hmm. We need political, small, decentralized, interlocking networks.
Well, that's what happened what's been happening in Britain. We call it devolution.
Devolution, yes.
Devolution, where Wales voted. We had a referendum where actually every vote counted, which is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's democracy, right? So we passed. We have an assembly now, and as you know, Northern Ireland has an assembly, mm-hmm. and Scotland has an assembly. But obviously, there's still a centralized power in London, but at least it's a start. Mm-hmm. And it was needed because the politicians in London had no idea what the economic and social conditions are in other places.
Nor should they.
Yes.
I mean, you can't expect people in Washington to know what's going on in Tacoma or in New Mexico.
You're talking about one power to control the world.
Or control America.
Even. I mean, even in Britain, the Welsh have our own language and our own culture, which is the oldest language, spoken language in Europe, mm-hmm. and we want to keep our language, thank mm-hmm. you very much, and our culture, mm-hmm. and so there's even in that small of a country, there's so much diversity.
You have too many L's to be ruled of right Ponce breads. Come on.
We have too many what?
L's.
L's.
And Y's. And a couple. A friend of mine did a European tour when he was in college. He was evidently drunk for most of it. He was the kind of guy who believed to be a great Southern writer, you need to be drunk most of the time. And he fulfilled that mm-hmm. part of it. But he stopped in Wales once. Evidently there was the longest place name in the world was in Wales. Yeah. It was 50 characters long, all consonants. He shows a picture of the railway station.
You want me to say it?
Yes, please. Wow.
But we call it Llanfair PG, so
okay.
So
that's the PG rating. Wow.
See?
Good thing you shortened that down.
Yeah, and it's I'm sure they're out there. Well, wait a minute. How did you get from paranormal to politics? Well, trust me, it is. It really is related. And you're talking about, okay, well, we need these smaller groups. Well, I'll tell you what. In the paranormal realm, in the foresight, with the predictions of premonitions, it's what's going to happen when these earth changes, shake. We have been really raping and pillaging the earth. And we are getting to the point now where we are starting to see more of these earth changes mm-hmm. taking place. Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to come to a point where, you're going to have your community, and survival in your community is going to be very important. And I've foreseen a lot of mass migrations in 2008. And now that Bush has these laws that he can declare martial law pretty much whenever he wants.
Yeah, that scares me.
and that's a big part of. Right. That's a big part of. It's what is to stop him from declaring martial law if we have another or two Katrinas? We get to that point. And then I'm okay, is there going to be an election?
I think he's always had that power, hasn't he?
No.
Well, not to the extent he's had.
Right.
But I would like to point out one thing.
Uh-huh.
We say Bush, we say Bush.
It's the system.
Right.
But I mean,
Well, it's, I mean,
nothing-
we're, right, he's just the lead man.
but it's nothing is going to prevent McCain,
Right,
Clinton,
right,
or Obama from doing those
Exactly.
things either.
right.
And Obama smiles more. I like Obama. He's a likable guy. But
He scares the heck out of me.
yes, you don't
He's
get
very, very dangerous, I think, because I mean, I don't call his supporters. I call them worshippers.
Well-
There's an idolatry there, which is very, very scary in my view.
Well, speaking as a former Ron Paul adherent, I can let that slide a bit because we got a bit wacky too. But
But I mean, you need more than words in a candidate. I mean,
Well,
it's
but
very
he's-
easy to say, "Oh,
Yes.
let's bring hope and dreams."
Well,
He's got more than words.
I've seen him on Oprah, and that's where I was introduced to him. And I, you know, hey man, Oprah says that he's a good guy. I heard him speak, and he
Well, if
didn't
Oprah
sound too
says
bad
it,
to
right.
me. Right.
no
right.
one gets to be in a position where they can become president if they're not one of the most ruthless mofos to ever walk the planet.
But okay,
And he's got a lot of
right,
money.
but
He's got
right,
a lot of
and-
money. So where's it all coming from? Who does he?
because
want?
the people,
Who does he
the
owe?
people are seeing him as another Kennedy.
What people are giving him money? I mean, it's not the people that are having their houses repossessed, is it? I mean, come on, he's making millions in days.
Well, that's not hard.
I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah.
a cynic.
Maybe because people are liking
Clinton,
him.
when you face McCain, that's not hard. But
But we know them. We know them. I mean, there's this sort of holier than thou
But
little cloud over Obama. Which
Obama,
I
don't think is any worse than any president we've had lately, and probably better than most. But he is still
he's not president yet.
But he could still
He could win.
walk into a presidency that gives him, I'm going to use this word again, obscene amount of power. And even if he is a great guy,
Does he think he's the Messiah, though?
well, even if he doesn't,
I think he does.
even if he doesn't think the Messiah, any average Joe should not have that much power. Any great man should not have that much power. Any really moral person should not have that much power.
Okay, so the next president who comes in the office is going to say, okay, well, we're going to null and void this past contract because, we don't want that much power.
No, he's not. No president's. No
That's
president
why they're
is gonna
running.
give-
They're running for the power.
Yes.
That's why everyone is running.
And they're doing it for what they consider great reasons. I mean, they all have some sort of altruistic design in mind. None of them is going, once I get to the White House, I'll make a golden crown and drink baby's blood from a goblet. They're all thinking, I'm going to do right by America. Unfortunately, what they consider right by America
And which America?
is which
Yeah.
America? Probably not mine. Probably not my vision of America.
I don't think we need one person overall. We got the cabinet there. Okay, you got
And they're useless.
use them. Let them make decisions. That way, you got more than one person making these decisions. Somebody say, make sure it's unanimous. Somebody says no, you don't do it.
Well,
You know,
that would be a nicer way of doing
Right.
it. But it's not going to happen.
It's
in
not
the current
real
structure.
world.
Yeah, and
Right.
no amount of reform that we push, I don't think, is going to
No.
make it so.
You
Well,
think we should have a president of each state?
Well,
I think it's a step in the right direction. I think we
there
should-
again, it's like, when we're talking earth changes, I'm seeing, and it has been predicted, not just
Exactly.
I am seeing, it's been,
Scientifically.
right. Earth changes. I have some fossilized seashells that were found out in the Florida Everglades, and we're talking a big fossilized seashell. I used to hunt for seashell fossils as a child up in the mountains, up in Pennsylvania. So it's like, right here we have a physical proof that the earth has been in another form, before, us being here.
And
So
forms
why do we think that the earth isn't going to change forms again?
scientifically proven, we got a
Yeah,
planet
head
moving
out.
this way.
Yes, I'm coming up. So, I'll see you later.
Thank you. We're gonna have him back on again. You guys are gonna see him again because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We can spend a whole hour with him. You're just getting tidbits of a whole bunch of people here today.
Little snippets.
Thank you. All right. I know that you wanted to talk about Nibiru.
Yes, it's called, most people probably hear it as Planet X or the 10th planet. I have found out it's scientifically proven that it is heading back toward Earth. It happens every 3,500 years. But this time it's going to be close enough, it will stop the world from turning for 3 days, which is going to cause winds up to like 300 miles per hour. And of course it's going to change the axis of the world's axis a little, which is going to change our water levels. You know what
So
I'm talking
are-
about there about
Right.
Florida being gone.
So there again, we're talking about what happened. Is this going to be like Venus? Venus coming retro. Wait a minute. Oh gosh, now I can't even remember what the terms were used as when Atlantis had disappeared.
Yeah,
Tell
I mean,
the viewers at home what information they would need if they needed to Google more about this.
go to Google, type in Planet X, and that'll take you to. It's called Nibiru planet, and it will show you. It's about the size of Jupiter. It's huge.
Or Earth changes. Google Earth changes. You'll get a map that is one of those predicted.
Yeah.
You know how the Earth is going to be after the Earth changes. You know what? I don't know if that was one of those pictures that are on there. I think I have one of those pictures that's on there, Matt, on that CD of the predicted Earth changes. Yeah, he'll be back again with that. But it's really quite amazing, and there again you have all of your other prophecy, your Mayan, your Egyptian, your Hopi.
Sumerian.
I mean, let's go down the
Yeah.
list of what has been predicted. And,
What is the sort of, is there a sort of a main thread of predictions? I mean, are they agreeing?
Well,
These
if you
different
look at
people?
all different religions, okay, all of your religions, and then not just religions, but your ancient spiritual texts, you know, whether it's the Mayan, the Hopi, the Egyptians, they all talk about Revelation, Revelation, the end time, what's going to happen at the end time.
Right.
And they're talking, in the Bible, it's supposed to be 3 days of darkness,
Right.
and with the earth, the white horse, you've heard about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, okay, the white horse is the earthquakes and volcanoes. And then you have the what is it? The red horse, black horse, the pale horse. I know the pale horse is death. Which one is the famine? Is that the red horse? Well, anyhow, you have your famine, which if we have earthquakes and volcanoes, then we're not going to have the food. We're not going to be able to plant the food. And like last year, where we had the frost that killed the buds. Well, this is what we're talking about. Things are going to be, changing. Or if things go as predicted this is the way it's going to be. Now, how do we choose to see it? Okay, do we look at it as, scientifically, spiritually? I mean, this is knowledge. Okay, it's not to fear. If we are fearing these things that are happening.
But hasn't every age thought that theirs was the time of the end times? What makes now more?
2012 as predicted. That was a number. That was a number that was predicted. And then with Orion,
With the Mayans.
with the Mayans, with the Hopi. I mean, there's a lot of that have predicted the 2012. But that's
Right.
kind of like an astrological. They were much more advanced and had much more knowledge. I mean, yes, we have our telescopes and everything like that now, but we're just now catching up as to, what goes on. Today is leap day. Well, wait a minute, why is it a leap day? Because it's like, the 364 point something, and we have the leap day to catch up. We are on an astrological clock. Even though they don't want to say, astrology is a part of.
It looks like the information you're referring to is not on that disc, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
But we don't mean it's
We'll
like
get
the end of
it
the
again.
world. It's just
Right.
The end of something.
Right.
the world as we know
it's
it.
a change.
It's going
Big
to
change.
right, and we're going to have to change.
So the Earth is physically going to change, or are we going to change? We're gonna change
We
as
have to.
well. Yeah.
It's
We would have to
right.
find shelter, like
Right.
caves or bomb shelters, something, where like a 300 mile an hour wind. You get out in 300 mile an hour wind, it'll blow a 450-pound man.
Yeah. Well, that's like down in Florida. I don't know how many of you guys have ever been to Florida, but it's like you look at your old growth. Florida is a
I
tropical
have
climate.
another quick question.
Yeah.
Are you going to be using the closing credits on the rolling tape or not?
Oh, you know what? I didn't even give you the music, so yeah, you might as well.
Okie dokie then.
That'll work. This is filmed at URTV in Asheville, and the music is James Crouch, the James Crouch Band. I always forget to put that up on there. Look on MySpace for the James Crouch Band. Oh gosh, I mean, there's so much that, I mean, we were kind of like a hodgepodge together, and there's a lot of things, and when we're talking about the government, it's like, okay, well, do we talk about the underground facilities that the government have, for these?
New World Order.
You got it.
Exactly.
You got it.
There's been a lot of talk about it. Even Bush Sr. has mentioned the New World Order.
Right. Oh, yeah, and I forgot about the Florida. Okay, all you got to do is look at Florida, and you look for your old growth. Well, we should have trees as tall as the rainforest in Florida. Why do we not have trees as tall as the rainforest? It's because it's gotten mowed over. I mean, there has been a mowing, a mowing of, and these things are coming, and it's not to fear, but it's to understand. And that was one reason, with my World Record Community Potluck Dinner that I'm still working on. I haven't gotten any help on it, but hey, I'm still working on it. It's going to be on May 4th at 2 o'clock, so it's after the church services, so people in the church can be a part of. Hey, man, that went quick, didn't it?
It did,
Is that
very
an hour
fast.
already? I know. Thank you guys for
thank
being
you,
here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Man, we're just going to have to do this again. Does that mean I'm going to have to do this another season? I think I can find enough to talk about. I got a big mouth.
I can always bring up some new stuff.
There we go. He's going to come back again.
Photos.
You're going to come back
I'll
again?
come back for that seance.
Oh!
I definitely want to be here on the set.
All right, well, hey, man, we'll be back again. We hope that you will be too. We love you.